is Meghan Rogers, and I am a writer-creator, and I'm the author of the Raven Files series, which was a young adult spy series that came out in 2016 and 2017, respectively. And I decided to start a YouTube channel at pretty much like the worst possible time. Maybe not the worst possible time, but it's a really bad time. It's not really advisable. And we'll get into that a little bit further in this video. But if you do happen to have heard of me before, perhaps you read the books when they came out, perhaps you followed me on Instagram, which I totally abandoned when the pandemic started. I will get back to it at some point, I promise. If you left a comment there, I will see it. I do intend to come back. I do intend to kind of make use of that differently. What I found with social media, especially when I was in like the real deep author promotion phase, was that it just wasn't natural to me. And I just it just felt like such a chore because I wasn't able, or at least I didn't feel like at the time that I was really able to use it in a way that was really authentic to me. And I found my way to YouTube from doing other projects and things, and I really like it here. I like the long form. It just feels so much more organic and fun and easy for me that like even though the videos are longer, like I spend less time making like a 15-minute video than I did trying to make like an Instagram post when I was using that more regularly. So I probably, like I said, I probably will get back to Instagram at some point and just use it differently, kind of use it more as supplement to the YouTube channel. But I just felt really called to start this channel. I kind of had this idea in my head for a while now, and even though this is like the worst time for me to be starting something new and starting a project like this, it just felt right, and it just felt like something that kind of needed to happen. So I do have like a whole list of things I kind of want to talk about today just to get us started off. If you do happen to be watching the first video or just wondering like what's going on, where have I been, what's been going on since, I said it was like 2020. It was literally when the pandemic started. I took what I thought was an Instagram break like for the pandemic, but then the pandemic just kept going. And I really liked not being online. But now I feel like I'm ready to be back. So where have I been since 2020? I guess like first like some book updates. So are there going to be more books? Are there going to be more Raven Files books? These are questions I get even like in real life from time to time. And there are, of course, going to be more books. I'm a writer. I'm always writing. There isn't anything currently sold right now or anything that's like even really in the pipeline. I'm going to talk a little about that a little bit more in depth later on in this video. But yes, as far as I'm concerned, there will be more books. In terms of Raven Files books, again, currently there are no plans for them, mostly because my publisher just hasn't bought more or asked for them. But I am a firm believer that if the money's there, someone will ask me to write them. So if you enjoyed the Raven Files books, if you want more books, you can purchase. The e-copies, I believe, are still available. I probably should have checked before I actually started filming this video, but if they are, you will find them in the description box below. And you can purchase them. You can have your friends purchase them. If you leave reviews, all of that kind of stuff helps. And also if it's in your library, checking out in your library is also really helpful. Those things are still true. But let's see, what else do I have on my list? Right, kind of a big thing. It happened about a year ago for me, so it's not really fresh on my mind anymore. But I am actually looking for a new agent. And I'll share a little bit about what happened there because it really wasn't anything bad, but it's also not wholly my story. It's somebody else is involved here, so I don't want to overshare. But as a writer who speaking to perhaps other writers who might want to know like what happens in this situation, I do want to share a little bit. So in my case, I just wasn't feeling like I was really getting fully what I needed out of our relationship and our dynamic, which I expressed to my agent, and I give her so much credit for being wholly accountable and then for also being completely honest with me and saying that she didn't think she could give me what I needed right now and that she fully understood if I wanted to seek representation elsewhere. Which, again, was just, we parted ways on like the best possible terms, which I'm really proud of and really happy about because she is, I think, a really great person. And so now I'm looking for a new agent, and I will admit I have not put much time or energy into the search. I did send some query letters out, which if you're unfamiliar, a query letter is like kind of the first step in getting an agent. It's a letter that has basically kind of the back cover of the book, so what's the story about, and then your publishing credentials or any like writing history that you have. So I did send some letters out. I've got some requests. Some agents do it pages, but I mean, it's a really long and slow process, and I have not been super aggressive about it just because, as I've kind of alluded to, I've kind of have had a lot of other stuff going on. So that's in the works. So if there is an agent out there who happens to be watching this video and you are interested in reading my work, feel free to leave an invitation to query in the comments. I will definitely reach out to you. But otherwise, like, what else has been going on since 2020? Let's see. So in that time, one of the first projects that I had that really kind of was my main income during this like time has been I built and ran and operated and then eventually sold a blog. It was kind of a lifestyle blog. It was mostly focused on curly hair and introvert life. It was a lot of fun to do for a while, but I ultimately outgrew it within I think I started it in 2019. It was right before the pandemic, and I got things off the ground with it in like the fall of that year, and then the pandemic hit when it was great to be already working online. But yeah, so I got what I needed out of that, and then I sold it back in the fall of 2023, like this past fall, if you're watching this video close to when it goes up. And I have moved on to other things in that time. One thing that came up several years ago is I actually discovered something that I love just as much as writing. And I don't want to talk about it too much now because I'm building a different business around that as well as writing, because I love it so much. And it's just, oh my gosh, it's the thing that, like, you know, when you have something that you love and it's like you made this discovery, it totally lights you up. That's this new thing. I mean, it's writing for me, but that's this new thing. And I'm so grateful for both to have writing and then to have found this new thing, because you know, so many people don't even find one thing that they love as much as I love writing, but to have found two is just magical to me. And I don't want to share the specifics of it. I will eventually. Like, it's not like it's a secret, but I really want this thing to be able to build its own audience and to have an audience of people who are specifically looking for what I'm offering in this arena. And like, if you find it, you will know. It's like I said, it's not a secret. My face is all over the website and all over the social media. So if you find it, you will know that that's my other thing. And I eventually probably will share it over here. Like I said, I just want to give it a chance to have its own audience and really connect with the people who are looking for what I'm offering in that arena. And then, of course, I've been writing. So just to kind of play a little bit of catch up with books, there was actually a book that I wrote I got inspired in the fall of 2017. I started it in February of 2018. I finished it in September of that year, which I think is like the fastest I've ever written a book. And I do love this book so much. It went out on submission. It didn't ultimately sell. I played with a bunch of other books in that time too that I just wasn't really feeling. I think I was putting a little too much pressure on myself to sell something, and I was kind of writing from a place of more like what will sell and how can I sell something instead of what do I want to create. But when I came back to this book that went out on submission, that was very much from a place of what do I want to create, and I'm sure that's part of why it flowed so easily. But like I said, so that didn't sell, and I played with a couple other ideas, and then I went back to that other book and revised it, and I think it's so much stronger. I do still love it so much, and that's the book that I'm currently looking for an agent for. That's a YA book. But I'm also working on an adult fantasy, which this is it came to me in a dream book. I'm not going to share the whole dream, but like I just had this dream that I was watching a movie, and the next thing I knew I was in the movie and I was like a character, and like I wasn't myself. I was what ultimately became my new book's main character. And that book has just been so much fun. It's been kind of vulnerable in a lot of ways. I'm putting more of myself into that main character than I ever have. She's definitely not me, but there's more of myself in that character than I think I've ever put in any character I've written, which has been really fun and really rewarding in a lot of ways. That book's kind of a mess. Like, it was interesting. I told my critique partners, like, I don't have a plot yet. I just have like my two main characters. I have their character arc independently and together. And I don't know how it's going to end up, but I just want to write this part because that's what I'm saying. And of course, because they're amazing, they're like, yeah, we'll read whatever. And they have just been incredibly supportive and really excited about it. And I'm kind of going back in now trying to give it a plot. I think I know the plot, but it's just been so much fun to write it from this way. And I actually have so many other book ideas that have been popping up for me. But yeah, the books, the writing's still flowing. In case you were wondering or concerned, you don't have to be. It's just, it's been so much fun. So that happened. But now coming back to why is this the worst time to be starting a YouTube channel? Because I am in such a major transition period. I'm literally, as we speak right now, in the middle of a pretty significant move. Like on the other side of this camera are boxes that are stacked like up to the ceiling. Maybe not quite up to the ceiling, like 3/4 of the way up the wall. That one pile is pretty big. But yeah, so like that's happening, and that's probably gonna have me tied up for a few months because, like I said, it's a pretty significant move. And on top of it, I am building this new business around this new thing that I love, and that's been really fun and exciting. And I'm actually kind of playing with another business idea. It's still in the experimentation phase, so I'm not even really going to get into the details, but like that's happening. And there's books that are happening that I don't have enough time to even write right now as much as I want to, because I'm like having so much inspiration for all these different ideas that keep coming in, and it's like pulling at me in all these different directions, and it's so much fun, but that also is so frustrating that I don't actually have time to sit down and give them the attention that I want to. See, wait, what else is there? Oh yeah, and then on top of all of that is still the agent search that I have not had time to do, and I want to do because I do want to get these books out there. It's just been like, what's the priority? And getting an agent just hasn't been it right now, but I want it to be, because I do want you to be able to read some of the stuff I'm writing and to be able to read it sooner rather than later. So that's something else I need to get back to, and yet here I am with a brand new project on YouTube. But so that is kind of related to say I'm not making any promises for the consistency of this channel. I do want to talk more about writing, specifically my process, what I'm working on, but also just writing in general, different writing tips, things that I have found helpful. But I also do want to note, like I had a writing blog before, and we're going to get to that actually a little bit later on because I think I'm bringing it back. But like I'm not here to convince you of any particular writing tip or philosophy. Because I'll be honest, I've now been online a lot between the blog that I built and sold, the YouTube channel for this other thing that I'm running, and I've actually had a couple other things that like I was experimenting with. And the comments I got on the writing stuff, the writing blog, that first thing, they have been the ones that people wanted to fight with me the most in the comments about what I was saying, just because they disagreed with me, even though I was very clear that I am sharing what worked for me, because I have greatly benefited from what worked for others. I haven't got everything that works for others doesn't work for me, and that's fine. And what works for me may not work for you. Also fine. You might disagree with a particular philosophy, but if I'm sharing it, it's because I found success with it. And it's just for sharing. So this is just to say, I welcome all comments. Like I like being able to engage with people in the comments. I think it can be a lot of fun, but I'm not going to fight with people in the comments. Like, if you can't be nice and civil, I'm probably going to kick you off the channel because we just don't have space for that here. You can disagree and share an opinion, but there's a difference between disagreeing and sharing opinion and actively fighting. Let's just set that tone right off the bat. We're also not going to tolerate any kind of disrespect or just any bullshit. Like we're just like, you know it when you see it, right? That's how we're going to operate around here. So again, no consistency. Like this might be one video that sits on the channel just for who knows how long. But I will get back to here. I will, there are so many plans I have for this channel, things I want to talk about, things I want to share. So I really do intend to make this a regular thing. I just can't promise when it will become a regular thing. For now, hopefully if I can get once a month, that would be amazing. But even that, I'm not promising. Also Instagram, like I said, I do intend to get back to Instagram. I need to get the YouTube channel off the ground first. This is so much more natural to me. This is so much more enjoyable for me that this is my priority in terms of like author social media. We're going to do it on YouTube. And again, I will get back to Instagram. I think it can be a great supplement. I might share pictures. I'm not really that into the reels. I might do a little bit. If I make a short for YouTube, I might share the short on Instagram, but I don't know. I like YouTube more for the pictures, or even for like those, like maybe the type of reels where it's like a picture that just has some movement to it. But I'm not really here for the video on Instagram. just me. There might be some short, again, like I said, there might be short things. Anything I say is never like a blanket, all or nothing type of statement. Just in general, that's kind of how I'm approaching Instagram and what I like to use it for, what I intend to use it for at this moment in time. But again, plans can change. And also, the writing blog I talked to you about. Before I did my Curly Hair Introvert Life blog, I actually had a writing blog, and it was not on my website. It was something different. I could never really unlock the code to monetize that one, so I ended up closing it down. I still have all the posts though, and I had them up on a free WordPress blog for a while. They're still kind of floating out there. I took the link off of my website. They were linked on my website so you could find them. I took the link off the website. If you've bookmarked the pages, you should be able to get to them for the time being. And I'm saying this specifically for the time being because I intend to, hopefully within the next few months, take that blog down, clean up those posts, kind of update them a little bit, and then start re-releasing them on my author website. I really loved those posts. I really think they have a lot of value, and I got some really great feedback from people. But like I said, people also started fighting with me a lot in those comments, and it kind of did take some of the fun out of it. So we're going to use the same comment policy on that site as we do here, that you are welcome to disagree. You are welcome to share what worked for you if what I'm sharing doesn't work for you, because there's only tips to be gained. There's only things to be gained and information to be shared, but fighting is not cool. We're just not doing the bullshit. We're not playing those games. I'm here to share. I'm here to chat. I'm here to learn new things. I'm not here to fight with people. So that's kind of how that's going to go. I'm sure I will link it here below. It will be on my website, MeghanRogersBooks.com. I should link that in this description. I'm sure I'll remember to link that in this description. So that, I think, is something else that's going to happen in the near future, which I am excited about. And I'm excited to get back to talking about writing. I haven't done it enough in the past few years, which I've noticed I kind of miss. So we'll get into that kind of stuff. And then the last thing is just the books that I'm working on, which at this point, because of the move, that's kind of taking a lot of my time and energy. But the first phase of the move should be wrapping up shortly, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I will have a little bit more time to kind of dig into books. But right now, I'm gently working on them in the margins of my life when I can. If I can get a half hour here, a half hour there. There's not a ton of consistency, which I am, again, also a little bit frustrated about because I miss it. I feel my best when I'm writing. So getting back to that is also a really big priority for me. And it's something else I want to share, where I'm at with something. I'm not going to share the specifics of a book completely until it's out there, but I love it when I see someone's process, and I want to share that kind of stuff. If there's a book I abandon, I want you just to know, hey, I put a lot of time and effort into this, but it's not really feeling it anymore, and I've decided to let it go. And I don't think we see quite enough of that on social media. I will admit, I've pared down a lot on writing social media. I've pared down a lot on social media across the board. So maybe I'm missing certain corners. It's totally possible. But from when I was online more often, I just didn't see enough of the ups and downs. I think you see a lot of these successes. And of course, because the downs are really vulnerable and can be kind of scary. So I'm not judging or saying someone should be doing something differently. Just I want to see more of it. So I'm going to create more of it, and I'm going to put it out there. And we'll see how it goes. That's kind of this whole channel is one big experiment where we're just going to see how it goes. And we'll see when it goes, and we'll see how it all comes together. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for going on this journey. And I'm excited to see what comes next, and I hope you are too. So I'll see you in the next one, whenever that happens to be. Bye.